approved. It's just one step in the process. It's literally just one step in the process. Maybe it's the first step in the process right after filling out the application. However, you that's not the only thing that will carry the day for you when it comes to getting a mortgage. So you want to find out all the things that go into that, and you want to make moves that will put you in the best light, in the absolute best light for you to be approved for that particular loan. So again, if you're looking to do to get a mortgage, whether it's to refinance or if it's to purchase a new home for you, a new to you home, or you're selling one home and you're going somewhere else, if that's what you're doing, you need to make sure that you know exactly what all is going to be in it. If you're a first time home buyer, yes, you need to be aware that there are programs out there that will help you with maybe down payment assistance, or maybe you don't have to pay as much up front on a down payment basis simply because you're a first time home buyer. In addition to even that, a lot of you don't know that this doesn't necessarily have to be your very first home. You could have owned a home 5 years ago. You could have owned a home. You moved out of that home for whatever reason. All of the people that got caught up in the whole housing crash and whatnot lost a home, and so that was in maybe you lost your home in 2009, and now we're looking at 2018. You qualify for being a first-time home buyer. It's past the time that they consider you to be a first-time home buyer. I don't want to say that it's 3 years or 5 years because I can't remember off the top of my head, but this is one of my tips for you. Call a mortgage lender. Call a mortgage lender and ask them questions. Before you call your mortgage lender, write your questions down. And there are no dumb questions. They should be glad to answer any of your questions. Now, if you find somebody that's annoyed by you and they don't want to answer your questions, whether you have 2 questions or 20 questions, then I'm going to suggest you pick up the phone and you call somebody else, somebody that's willing to work with you and help you understand the process. That's what you want from your mortgage lender. So good credit score is not enough for the home. You've got to know all of the things that go into that. So like if you didn't know that you can qualify to be a first-time home buyer, even though you've owned a home before, that's some information that you absolutely need to know because there's a benefit to that. There's an absolute benefit to that. So you want to make sure you know that. So we're going to finish this part, knowing the credit game. We're going to finish that part on the other half after the question of the day. So we got to get into the question of the day. The question of the day, of course, is brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Cute as a Cupcake is located at 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Get by Cute as a Cupcake and let them know that the 800 Credit Score Man sent you. All right, so let me throw a couple shout outs before we do Cute as a Cupcake. Alette Washington. Happy birthday to you, Alette Washington. I saw the age that was put on there, and I swear you don't look more than 35. So happy birthday to you, Alette Washington. Happy birthday to Ben McCall. Happy birthday to you, sir. All right, so let's jump into what the question is. The question comes from James. James is out of Atlanta, Georgia, and he's probably hating it right now in Atlanta, Georgia, because they got like 7, 8, 9, 10 inches of snow or something like that. So they shut down. If they get a little drift, they're going to shut it down. So this is from James out of Atlanta. And thank you guys. If you have any questions, please contact me, 800 creditscoreman@gmail.com. This is my favorite portion of the show. And it's only as good as you guys are. So hit me up with questions. I will answer your question directly to you, and we can have a little back and forth until you get a full understanding. And then again, I may use you on the show as well. So please contact me with your questions. And like I mentioned earlier, there are no dumb questions. I will gladly answer your question. Okay, so what James said was this. Per my credit report, I don't have any credit, nor do I have a credit score. What should I do to get credit? So here's what struck me when he said, per my credit report. Per my credit report. So that made me think, like, that's not normal language to me. You're saying per your credit report. So, my first question back, sometimes I ask more questions than I give answers. But my first question back, what do you mean per your credit report? So come to find out, James does have a vehicle. I think he was leasing the vehicle. So he has a vehicle, but it's not being reported on his credit report. And that's really the only thing that he does have. He doesn't have a car, any credit cards, or anything else. So so that's what the deal was with that. So he does have a vehicle that is being leased, and it's not being leased from like, a buy here, pay here. You bring your money every month and, drop it in the mailbox or whatever it is. It's not one of those places. It's actually a regular place, but it's not being reported. And he's had it for a couple of years, and it's not being reported to his credit report at all. So to James, my first thing was to get that car reported on your credit report. Call whoever is financing it, who's financing that vehicle, and tell them that it's not being reported. So if you find an account not reporting, you do the same. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a vehicle. It doesn't mean that you don't have any credit anywhere else. If you have, this is outside of, James's question, but if you have 10 accounts and you notice that only 8 are reporting, you want those other 2 to report. They help you with your length of history. They help you with the number of accounts for whatever reason the credit bureaus like you to have or have had. They don't all have to be open, or have had a bunch of accounts. 10 is not enough. So they have something to judge you on, check your credit worthiness. So you want you want those accounts to be reporting, especially if you're making the payments on time. If you're making your payments on time, you want to get the full quote unquote credit for being a good steward over that particular account. So you want to give the company a call, not the credit bureau. You want to give the company a call and tell them that it's not being reported. Or if you find that it's being reported to Equifax, but it's not being reported to Experian or TransUnion, same thing. You want them reporting to all 3 of the credit bureaus so you can get all the points put on your credit report. So make sure you call the company and let them know, and they should be able to do that for you. Some companies only report to 1 credit or 2 credit reporting agencies. They are not, by law, they don't have to do it. So they don't have to report to all 3 credit bureaus at all. By law, they're not required to do so. But most of them do, especially if you're, it's a big entity. You got a Chase Bank, a Bank of America, or Regions Bank, or whoever it is. So make sure that you get that reported to your credit report. In James' instance, getting that 2 years worth of making payments. He says they're all been on time. 2 years worth of making on-time payments would be good for his credit report and credit score, especially since he doesn't have anything else. So what else does he need to do to get his credit, to get a credit score? That's one thing, to just get a score, but to increase that score, he's going to need some additional credit. So I know it sounds bass-ackwards sometimes when they say, hey, you need more credit to help you with your score, but the reason you have the score you have is because they're looking at what you've done in the past, seeing what you could potentially do in the future, and they're judging you on those things. So if they don't have anything to judge you on, then your score is going to be lower. So my suggestion would be to get a credit card. Now, if you have no score at all, you're going to have to jump through a bunch of hoops, especially with this hack that just happened and what have you. You're going to have to jump through a bunch of hoops just to prove that you are who you are, and it's not it's just not a mistake. So to make sure that you do that. So get you a credit card. So in this instance, you're going to probably have to start with a secured card. So you can get your secured card. You guys should know how that works. If you don't, briefly, you're going to send whatever company, ABC credit company, $500, and that's going to be your credit limit. And so you can use that card, pay your monthly bill, and that'll go on your credit report. Make sure whoever you use, they report to all 3 credit bureaus. You call somebody, that's going to be one of your first questions. Do you report to all 3 credit bureaus? If so, then good. That's a place you want to use. Also, you might even want to ask, do they give you any additional funds for your limit? So you might give them $500, but they may make your limit $600 or $750. Is really common for them to do that. They may not even do it at the beginning when you start the account, but maybe in a month or 2 months, they may do that for you as well. So get a secured card. Sometimes it's a little easier, if you will, to get a card from a department store. So maybe you get a card from a department store. Oh, let me go back and mention the secured card thing. So if you're going to get a secured card, you're going to need a bank account. Now, this struck me as interesting. I mean, I know a lot of people out there that don't use the bank. They don't have a bank account or whatever, for whatever reason that is. They're going to the currency exchange. They go to the liquor store or whatever to cash their checks and whatnot. No, there's a lot of people out there. But I just really hadn't thought about them until earlier this year when it came up with one of my clients. They did not have a bank account. So I'm giving them advice and telling them to go get a security card, and they get denied for a security card. I'm like, man, how in the world do you get denied for a security card? It's almost impossible to get denied for a security card. So you must have a bank account. Now, if you are in that check system because you've done bad by a bank account, bounce a bunch of checks or what have you, you still owe some bank, $30 from back in the day or whatever, and you're in their check system, which is kind of like their credit system kind of thing, and you can't get you a bank account through them, then you need to find somebody else that does not use that. And I'm gonna tell you now, there's a company called Mokafi, and they do not use the check system. So you can use them. Yes, it's spelled M as in Mary, OCAF as in Frank, I. Mokafi. They got an app. It's online. You can use them. They do not use the check system. So if you need a bank account, then I'm going to suggest that you look up Mokafi and you try to find one. And if you find somebody else, please let me know. You find somebody else that can do the same thing, please let me know, because I love to pass that information on to the rest of the listeners. So, all right. So back to James. So James, per his credit report, he didn't have anything. So get that card placed on your credit report. You want to get you a card, a secure card or a regular credit card or whatever it is. Get you one of those. You can also get a small loan from a credit union. They'll help you out as well. And I say small, I'm talking like $900, $500 or whatever. You pay it over 6 months, and that'll help you out with your credit score as well. So maybe you do that with a credit union. And then you guys should all know one of my favorite things is authorized user. So if you got somebody that trusts you and you trust, then become an authorized user on somebody else's credit card. That'll really, really help you, especially if that card is older, 7 years or more. It has a little balance, a small balance, but a high credit limit. That will definitely help you establish some credit and to move your credit score forward. In this particular instance, James does these three things: just getting an authorized card, an authorized user, and gets that card put on there, and then also gets him a credit card. Of course, he's going to go from having no credit score at all to 700, like right off the rip. So I'm going to suggest that's what you do. And you guys, while you're listening, you see how these things fit into your particular credit situation, and you apply them as well. And if you have any questions, again, contact me, 800creditscoreman@gmail.com. All right, so thanks, James. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Everybody that has a question, please contact me again. You can be just like James and part of the 800 Credit Score Man show family. So thank you so very much. James, you are officially a part of the 800 Credit Score Man family. Brought to you, the question of the day is brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute. They're delicious. Q's Cupcake is located at 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Get by there and tell them that the 800 Credit Score Man sent you. All right, so let's wrap this up. So, let me give a couple shout outs. John McClendon, Johnny Mac. Happy birthday to you, Johnny Mac. He celebrated a birthday. Pretty sure he had a party last night, might be tonight or whatever. So happy birthday to you, Johnny Mac. Happy birthday to Chad Blair. Chad Blair, one of the few guys that I know that played soccer back in the day. Happy birthday to you, Chad Blair. I gotta give a shout out. Today is her birthday. Latrice Swanson, Tracy. Happy birthday to you. Today, your birthday. And then a shout out to Alicia Murray as well. Today is her birthday. So happy birthday to you as well, Alicia. My guy, Vincent Merchants, his birthday is coming up. So happy birthday to you. And Sean Fuller. Sean Fuller's birthday is on Sunday, tomorrow. So happy birthday to you, Sean, as well. So getting back to knowing this credit game. So like I was telling you guys, when you're focused on what you're getting your credit for, that's what I want you to do. You want to focus on that. So we were going through the example of if you're, getting a mortgage. Call that mortgage lender. Make sure you write down those questions for them and ask them all of those questions. You want to pull your credit report. I'm not saying let the mortgage guy do it. Pull your own credit report. If